Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Dennis Allen with Stratascale. Stratascale is an SHI company focused on cybersecurity professional services. Today, I have the pleasure of talking with Sudip Ghose, Vice President of Enterprise Data and Analytics at Equifax. Well, you've obviously had an amazing career and you're doing great things at Equifax. If you're talking to another chief data officer that's looking to grow their practice, help mature that, tackle some of these initiatives, what would be some of your best advice or lessons learned that you could share with them?
First thing is to obviously understand the landscape of data within, like any data in the company, right? And then understand the stakeholders, right? So that and their demands for analytics. My point has always been we do data for analytics. It is not for storage. It is for analytics. It is for the value. It is for that product. Okay. So even for data analytics, product thinking is very important. And product thinking is there everywhere, right? But when it comes to internal, people forget that it's at the end of the day, these are products. We have products and we have customers. So I would say to do good governance and good processes, good technology processes, you have to have that data. We have to have the product and the customer mindset, right? This product is for this customer for this value, right? When we lose that, there is a jumble up, and that leads to more cost also. Today, I can say, "Hey, customer, you're going to need to pay this much amount of money for these," and this will be more pronounced when we come to AI. AI cost will be much higher than analytics cost. So we have to tell them, "This is your cost. Now, do you want the product or not? Oh, you don't want it? Let me decom it." So it helps. It helps the company. So at the end of the day, the benefit of a product has to be understood by, so I to like you said, to the CDO, I would say, inculcate the theory that thinking in your team and your ecosystem, your partner ecosystem, and that really helps. Eventually everything has a cost aspect of it, and I produce my cost every month and show whether it is flat or going down or why it went up and all that. So that is something that I have to give to the company, right? I mean, because I have a budgeting that I have to operate, budget that I have to operate within, and that budget comes from various parts of the company. So I have to justify that this is what you're paying, this is what you're getting. Now, so that is another thing that I think you have to focus now. And then there is data quality and practice, just making sure that there is good observability, there is balance and control, to make sure the quality of the data is good, right? And we have overcome all those issues over time, right? If the technology is has issues in architecture and construction, code set and all that, we continuously have problems, right? That I think somebody has to mature the organization. But other than that, I think there has to be some common principles of engineering that has to be followed to have the quality of the data right at the right point.
Well, you mentioned cost. I want to pull that one a little bit. I mean, I think that is a it's kind of a big thing to focus on right now when you're talking about investments in technologies and all of this storage and the cost of that storage and the cost of the compute for doing all this AI and the cost of the resources that you have, right? There's a lot of overhead in being able to do this. And I can obviously you can once you get to that number, you can compare it to time savings and revenue gen and all those other fun things. But what do you do? Some of your tips or tools that you use to keep an eye on that cost. You mentioned you do a pretty good job of reporting on that, but I mentioned a few of those elements. Kind of what do you do to kind of manage that effectively?
Yeah, so in cloud, the best way to manage is to have tagging of so um, because my portfolio is large for the company, global, if I don't tag the products with the right customers, or business units, I will be holding the entire cost to myself, right? So there is good tagging to kind of doing chargeback. So one way to do is making sure there is good chargeback, and chargeback is not enough. Sometimes you have to say that, like, this product is more expensive because you ran these many queries 25 times, and 25 times it errored out because
Mhm.
you had a bad query. And so I say this, bad queries may not finish, but it will consume the entire cloud cost for the month.
Mm.
And these are some of the governance things we have brought in, to find out where are the bad queries and all. And if you can control some of that, right, the cost is as expected. It can be high, but it can is as expected. It not going to shoot up, right? So managing month by month is something we do, the graphs and charts, and give the, tell them that this is what we are looking at. You're running these too many times. So that is one way of managing. The other thing is understanding um, the the entire footprint of data and compute, right? Why is this compute running, every day and nobody is using it? If somebody is not using it, so detecting what is been obsolete, like people develop and forget, right? And they develop, right, and they use it twice and then they're done. So we have to have a little bit of a usage matrix going, that who is using what we need to do decommission. So on an annual basis, I call it the cost bullet train. I run it, and I tell people just look for where are the opportunities, and we always find, every year we find some opportunities to do that. And every year Google also changes its a cost model. So understanding the cost model is, hyperscalers don't just give you a free ride. I mean, they will change it, they will tweak some costs here and there, and things will go up. I mean, for example, recently they gave, like, there's something called auto class, right? Like, it will automatically, like, if you have a large data set which is getting older and older, we have to invoke auto class to get it to a lower storage cost, right? That, and then there is something called delete management, right? I mean, if you delete a data set, you think you're not paying for it. No, you're actually paying for it, but it's still there. Okay, so there is some of these kind of obsolescence management and auto class management that, is very important to
So
understand,
how are you
realize, and
working with
practice.
the IT team or the IT ops team for that? Because with your responsibilities in the data piece, where does that bleed over to you being, managing that cloud infrastructure versus leveraging them? How does that relationship work?
Yeah, so the cloud enabling team, we work very closely. I mean, they understand, first of all, they know these changes. They are supposed to communicate the changes to us. And for example, in analytics, Google BigQuery, which is their warehousing technology, which is used by everybody. It's very popular. But it's expensive too, right?
Mm.
So you have to understand how, like, what to reserve, what to go for an open slot, or what to pull together, right? Pool helps, right? I'm pulling helps, like, there are various orgs like me. There are other orgs using Google. I can use there without company paying anything, right? So that's called the pooled slots, right? So understanding the pooled slot technique, they have to tell us, right, that this is what you can do, this is what you should reserve. So managing that portfolio is what they work with. Other than that, enabling some, the new technologies that Google is releasing, like in Analytics Hub and things like that, will actually help, right? I mean, so we are looking into those kind of things and moving into serverless, to manage the cost better. We are seeing the performance getting better with serverless. So we are moving into serverless. So that transition, we need their help to transition over to that. I mean, we need their blessing.
Great. Well, I just want to thank you, Sudip, for your time today. Thank everybody for joining us and sitting through our conversation. I know I learned a lot. And it was a pleasure chatting with you. And as usual, everybody out there, please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews.
was a pleasure, Dennis. Thank you so much.